Well, hello everybody, welcome to Auto Shenanigans and welcome to all the Motorway service stations. Good morning indeed. It is the 3rd of August, it's 5 to 8 in the morning. On episode 6 we'll be starting at London Gateway services on the M1, which you can see behind me, and we've then got 10 service stations in total to do today. They're all on the M1. We're literally going from London Gateway all the way up to Woodall services, which is near Sheffield. I think it's going to be a fairly boring drive, but of course the service stations will no doubt make up for the lack of excitement there. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's episode. So as I said, we're at London Gateway services on the M1. That's run by Welcome Break. Opened in around 1969. It's a well-known fact that the main guns of HMS Belfast on the River Thames, some 11-12 miles from here, are actually targeted on this precise place. So if they were to fire, we'd be obliterated. Entry to the service station is a little bit odd in as much as there's an upside-down U-shaped sort of roundabout that you need to come around to get in. The reason for this is the original plan was to build a motorway junction here, which would have been Junction 3, which would have linked to some of the local spur roads. As a result, you'll notice that on the M1 there is no Junction 3 officially. We are at it, but it was never built and never materialised, so the service station is here, but no motorway junction. Total journey length should be around 140 miles from start to finish. As always, we've had to drive a little bit of a distance to get to our start and end locations either side of that. Toddington Services. It's the home of Moto headquarters and of course operated by Moto. It opened in 1964, although slightly interesting. There's a bridge. The footbridge was here first. That opened in 1959, and then the services built around it. And Toddington is site of the last Little Chef restaurant, I think in the UK. It closed in 2010, having opened in 1996. Alrighty, that is Toddington Services taken care of. Number 2 out of 10 for today. As I mentioned, Toddington is home of the Moto service station operator headquarters. Hello to everyone who is working very hard in the offices there. We've just rejoined the M1 northbound onto our next stop, which is going to be Newport, Pagnell. It's not actually that far away. Service station number 3, Newport Pagnell services, still on the M1 northbound, as we will be all day. Like Watford Gap services, Newport Pagnell opened when the M1 did in 1959, making it the oldest, or certainly the joint oldest service station along with Watford Gap on the network. Of course, it's been refurbished several times over the years, but if we look carefully, we should be able to spot pretty much the original building as it was. Interesting point to note, there is a time capsule on the northbound side. It was buried in 1990, so who knows what's inside. I doubt we're going to be able to dig it up. We'll ask.
It's a bridge. Yes.
In 1988, David Fisher did one of his art installations here. I think they're mostly gone now. We still continue the hunt for these throughout this series. If we ever find one, I think it's going to be fantastic, but it's safe to say they're mostly gone now as part of refurbishment. There is a blue rope, which suggests I should not cross this line. Ha. Take that, society. All right, that is Newport Pagnell services done, number 3 of 10. If you have a look around the side, there's a couple of relics from what used to be. So there's a small abandoned building behind me, which I believe used to be the Transport or Drivers Cafe. I can't get in there, obviously, and if you have a look through the window, though, you can still see some of the original fixtures, the counter, the cash register, etc. So if you're like an urban explorer, then that might be one for you. Also, if you have a look around, there is the odd old sign from, again, probably when the services opened. And interestingly, on the walkway bridge, you can't see it from the motorway, but there are advertising banners on the top of the walkway bridge. And I'm not really sure why, because as I say, you can't see them from the motorway. They look to be a little bit older, so perhaps they've been there quite a while, I'm not so sure. Anyway, we're going to jump in the car and continue on up the M1 to our next stop. We shall see you there. First car spot of the day, and it's a good one. Welcome to Northampton Services, stop number 4 for the day. Opened in 1979 as Rotherthorpe Services. It was then demolished 22 years later and rebuilt, as you see here, by Roadchef, at which point it was renamed to Northampton Services. At the time of the rebuild, the footbridge linking the two sides was left in place but closed off at each end to the public, and you can't access it. So it's a little bit strange that it's been left in place. No entry, can't get in. I did ask, but they won't let me. And finally, the junction here has a unique design in as much as you can get to either side of the service station, south or northbound, from either side of the motorway, which is not really that common at service stations. Falling debris. From where? That was Northampton Services, so we are just about to rejoin the motorway, and our next stop is Watford Gap. And did you know that Watford Gap used to be where the M1 started or stopped depending on your direction? It was built in phases and was completed in 1959, or certainly phase 1 was, and that's where it used to end. Watford Gap Services, stop number 5 of 10 for today, so we're already halfway through. We are motoring through them today. Opened in 1960 and at the time was a very popular meeting point for musicians, so you get small unheard of local bands like the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix and Pink Floyd meeting here quite regularly, maybe on the way to or from a performance, who knows. If you live in the southeast of England like we do, Watford Gap Services often marks the point of the north-south divide. So I'm probably currently in the south of England. Once we leave the service stations, that is up north as far as we're concerned. In 2009, as part of the M1's 50th anniversary, the BBC commissioned a musical to be filmed at Watford Gap Services. It's absolutely legit. YouTube it, the Watford Gap musical. Thank me later, you will love it. Bridge, glorious bridge. I hate to be a bit of a diva, but I just got noticed due to my YouTube stardom. Jen, the assistant manager here, came over and said hello. Hi, how are you? You all right there? It's probably because their head office emailed and said, if you see this guy, do not approach, he is dangerous, do not let him in the premises under any circumstances. Well, Watford Gap Services wins the award for most warm welcome ever. It was lovely to meet the managers, Paul and Jen. We had a good old natter about service stations, as you do. Just giving you guys a bit of a shout out saying hello. Hopefully we'll catch up with you guys again sometime soon. But certainly a thank you for having us. We're on from Watford Gap now, back onto the old M1 North. We shall see you at the next stop. It's really nice to meet people who really are behind the service stations. We're looking at all the infrastructure, buildings and everything else, so it's quite a nice opportunity to speak to someone. Rest assured, if you come up to Watford Gap Services, you are sure of a good welcome. Welcome to Welcome Break, where we're going to have a welcome break at Leicester Forest East Services, opened in 1966, and copies its design from, or certainly takes influence at least from, the Italian service stations, and that's a rare design to be seen on the service station network, so it is a little bit different from some of the others. As you can see behind me, there is a bridge, which of course I am thrilled to see. This bridge houses some of the restaurants, so we should be able to go up there and have a little look around. There is also an outdoor terrace area for the bridge, however that is closed off to the public for health and safety reasons, of course. We'll see if we can have a look at it nonetheless. With Leicester Forest complete, we are just on our way into Toddington services, and if you're heading northbound like we are, the slip road for it is 2 miles long, so you come off the motorway and then it's quite a drive before you actually reach the services. We're just pulling in now, so we shall have a wander around. We'll see you shortly, usual thing. And here we are at Moto Toddington. It was opened by gardening celebrity Charlie Dimmock in 1999, and its name was shortened from Donington Park to Toddington in 2016 for reasons unknown. It's a fairly large building that almost looks like an airport terminal, and coincidentally is situated pretty much just over the road from East Midlands Airport. And unlike a lot of service stations, the hotel, in this case Travelodge, is actually built into the main building rather than being a separate building, so you can access that through the main service station area, which is fairly unique for a service station. I said the name had been shortened to Toddington in 2016. That was a lie, obviously. Okay, that is Toddington services done, site of the world's smallest Marks and Spencers. I believe that's official. Right, so Toddington is done, making that 7 out of 10 for today complete, and we have just arrived at our next stop, Trowel Services, making it service station number 8. Okay, we're at Trowel Services, which opened in 1967, and throughout the service station you will find a total of 4 Greggs stores, which I think might be a bit excessive, but people love their Greggs. And that is Trowel Services done. There's a couple of things of note. Moto have some very nice sort of stone emblems as you're entering the services on both sides. Keep an eye out for those. And on the southbound side, there's a little group of sculptures as well. I'm not sure what they're supposed to represent. If anybody knows, do get in touch. If you're over the southbound side, keep an eye out for, I think, another abandoned truckers' cafe. I couldn't really see inside, so no confirmation there, but that's what it appears to be. Oh, one thing to add, I can indeed confirm there are 4 Greggs, if it is of interest. Right, Trowel Services is taken care of. We are just on our way out, taking the opportunity to pick up a little bit of lunch, which today I have quite a treat. It is grilled beef with toasted sesame roll and a side garnish of salad, along with deep fried salt dusted potato strips. And I am very much looking forward to tucking in. Welcome to Tip Shelf Services, run by Roadchef, opened in 1999. What's interesting about here is that it was due to be built a little bit further up the road, approximately half a mile or so. If you have a look on Google Maps, you can see what looks like sort of ghost spur roads, if you will. They were put in place when the motorway was built, the idea being that that's where the service station would go. But later on, that changed and it was built further down here, and now there's just these little stubs of road left. Whilst there is no official walkway linking the two sides together, if you have a little look round the back, you can find a pathway on Sawpit Lane, which will allow you to access the bridge not too far from here and get over to the other side if you so wish. Right, that is Tip Shelf Services done. It's very nice here, actually. You've got, well, imagine my surprise, of course it's lovely, it's a service station, but outside there's a lot of hanging baskets and a lot of flowers, and on a day like today, it looks absolutely stunning. Inside there's a wonderful glass roof which allows all of the light in that's possible, so it has a very light and airy feel inside. So it's a nice little quaint service this, but so far quite a nice one indeed. That is service station number 9 out of 10 Tip Shelf done. Thanks very much, Roadchef. We are rejoining the motorway and on to our final stop for the day, which will be Woodall Services, so we shall see you there. Okay, we're here at Woodall Services, service station number 10 of 10 for today. It opened in 1969 and is run by a welcome break. There's an interesting architectural design feature here. The old Truckers Cafe, which I believe is now a Costa Coffee, is actually a completely round building. Hopefully we'll get some shots of that. Unfortunately, I didn't really capture much footage inside because the management seemed to take great issue with us filming. And there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That is 10 service stations done for today. That takes our total up to 50 now. So we are certainly over the halfway point. Join us in episode 7, where we'll be going from Blythe services up to Wetherby. That should be quite a nice trip indeed. If you've liked the video, please do give us a subscribe, give us a like. It all helps and lets us know that it's worthwhile continuing with this